Oh my goodness, thank you. Thank you. Now, how many people here, I can't see you, so you got to hoot. How many people here have read a wiki in the last week? Now, how many people have written on a wiki in the last week? Hey, well, thank you. You make me famous, right? Okay, so I had the opportunity in the last year to work on a new wiki. This was a chance to try some modern technology, apply it to an old problem, and that is getting people to modify the language they use in solving everyday problems. We did this in computers. It worked pretty well, but there are a lot of problems that are bigger than the computer, and that's what we're working now. So I want to show you some screenshots of little pages. They're all kind of narrow. This is the original pattern language which guided my work almost 18 years ago. And this is cast as Federated Wiki. Looks great on the phone, by the way. This is a more recent version. You can tell the pictures are color. And this was done by EcoTrust right here in Portland. It's a pattern language that talks about how to live with a footprint on the earth that we can afford. And this is something that is kind of out of the realm of Wikipedia because there's nothing neutral about that. Here's one where it's starting to get quantitative. It says, well, if you do this, it's going to save you this much and cost you this much and this much greenhouse gas and so forth. And when you're talking about the future, it helps to kind of have some data there because you can't depend upon a neutral point of view. Now, this is the work I've done. In addition to making this wiki, I've filled it up with data. But the big thing, the federated thing, is all these different wikis need to work together. They need to keep their own identity, but if you need them all, and they ought to work together as one gigantic federated wiki. So when I talk about this, I'm thinking about diverse people, not just your average Wikipedia author. I'm talking about organizations, people who have a vested interest in what they do and getting them to participate in a community. These are the 5 personas that I designed to. Can you tell which one's the manager? Well, how about the data scientist? Yeah. Now, this all works, scales out. This will be fabulous once it's universal. Here I'm imagining all those are sites. These are global manufacturers, NGOs, innovative supplier, data journalists, interested public, scientists. This is the architecture. This is what it takes to put it up on a computer. Fits on Amazon real nice, or Heroku, or even wiki.org is a software as a service. You can put that boundary wherever you want. The thing is, there can be a lot of these servers and they work together. This is showing a little bit here. I've blown up 2 servers, the orange one and the blue one, and I show pages cooperating between them, one providing data, one providing calculation, and then going back to the first site for visualization. And this idea that things from different places can work together that intimately deserves some more discussion. Let's drop down a level and talk about how you can put plugins into a wiki and expect them to work together. This is a couple of screenshots. This shows the pages as they appear in a browser, and this is showing different data sets on pages and the information flowing. Actually, look at the little flags at the top of the page. You can tell it's going from site to site to do different things. Here's something, if you get one URL out of here, oscon.fed.wiki.org, is a demo and an exercise that you can do in your own computer, saving the results in your own computer. Don't even need a server to do it. I spent a lot of time thinking about what this will hook into. Here's a guy who's got some cool new silicon to make a universal radio, software-defined radio. In the future, in the old days, you used to buy a radio to do like pickup time. Now you just get a web page to be a new kind of radio. I think I'm going to skip this last session here, kind of go off the rails a little bit, and answer a question I got backstage. It says, for all the stuff you've done with Wiki, why aren't you making money on it? Why didn't you patent it? Something like that. At least trademark the name. And I think that it's easy to get way out ahead so far that nobody actually wants what you're making. And in that world, it's hard to make money. A lot of money's been made on Wiki, by the way, but not in the first 5 years. So we're looking at something that's going to take a while to actually build the communities that make this valuable. I just hope it gets done in time that we'll have the data and whatever we need to move into our own collective future with some grace, and I'm hoping you'll all help me do it. So with that, thank you very much.
Hi there, my name is Brantley Shumaker and I'm a patent attorney. That means I'm not smart enough to innovate or invent anything. But I can tell you how to protect your innovations and other assets, as well as tell you a little bit about recent changes in patent law that folks like you need to know about. Now, as a startup, what do you want to protect? You want to protect your company name, maybe you want to protect some technology, your product, your process, maybe you want to protect some data, especially secret data like customer lists or a secret formula. Now, trademarks, you've all seen them, they have the circle R. They exist to protect company names, brand names. You can also have trade dress to protect the look and feel of a product, and you see some pretty prominent examples up here. You got your Coke bottle, you got Coca-Cola name, Adidas stripes, etc. They're good to protect your origin identification. Copyrights are a little bit different. Copyrights protect what is called an original work of authorship set in a tangible medium. Well, what the hell does that mean? It can mean a lot of stuff. It can be computer code, it can be advertising copy, music, artwork, etc. It's really sort of a catch-all form of IP that we can talk about later. But contracts is sort of like a fallback position. You know, they're just good old-fashioned contracts. They're good for protecting things like trade secrets, especially in the form of non-disclosure agreements or employment agreements. You also see website user agreements that are also contracts to protect data oftentimes. Now, patents are often considered the most powerful form of intellectual property. They protect apparatuses, products, processes. They give you the exclusive right to make, use, sell, offer to sell, or import in the U.S. for 20 years. That's pretty powerful. But in order to get a patent, you got to go through an extensive process. You got to show that it's useful. So you can't get a patent on a perpetual motion machine, sorry. It's got to be novel. That means no one else has done it before. And it's also got to be non-obvious. That means not only has it not been done before, but it would not have been obvious for someone to do. An examination takes years, and it's very, very expensive. You either can try to do it yourself, and usually unsuccessfully, or you can pay a patent agent or attorney a ton of money in order to get something on file, and that's pretty daunting for startups with limited budgets. So there are alternative means that can sort of get you at least in the right direction. You have design patents. They're cheaper and they're simpler, but they're narrower. They only protect ornamental features of products, and they only last 14 years, but they can be useful. A good example is the iPhone design patent, which was very successfully recently asserted for lots of money. You also have provisional patent applications. This is not really an alternative as much as it is a delay tactic. It's a way to more cheaply obtain a filing date at the patent office. You will have to eventually file a full-on patent application, but as a startup with limited funds before investment, this might be a good way to go. A note about public disclosure. If you disclose your idea to someone in the public who is not under a confidentiality agreement in the U.S., you have 1 year to file a patent application. We're a little bit unique in that regard. Most countries, you can't do that. Why am I telling you this? Because the U.S. is what's called a first-to-invent system. That means the first to conceive of an invention is going to be considered the inventor and be awarded the patent, not the first to file the patent office. We're the only country in the world that's like this. So, for example, let's say Chucky conceives of an idea on January 1st, and he waits a couple months to file on March 1st. Meanwhile, Sally independently conceives of the same idea, but she files first on February 28th. Who wins under the current system? Chucky. Why? Because he was the first to conceive. But the rest of the world is what's called a first-to-file system. What does that mean? That means it's a race to the patent office. Regardless of who conceives first, whoever files first wins. Some say this favors large companies who can afford to file patent applications every time they turn around. But same example, Chucky conceives on January 1st, files on March 1st. Meanwhile, Sally independently conceives on January 2nd, files on February 28th. Who wins in a first-to-file system? Sally. Sally wins. And this is important. Why am I telling you all this? Well, President Obama in September 2011 signed what's called the America Invents Act. You may have heard of it. It was meant to address what are perceived as a bunch of shortcomings in patent law, but most of us practitioners agree it didn't really do that. But it did do a couple of important things, especially for folks like you. The most important is that starting in March of next year, we are going to be transitioning from a first-to-invent system to a first-to-file system. That means, for people like you especially, if you're going to pursue patent protection, it's critical that you do it sooner rather than later. And provisional applications are also going to become that much more important because they're quicker and cheaper and can be filed dirtier. So, for example, Chuck conceives on January 1st, files on March 1st. Now, let's say a publication disclosing the same idea is used to reject his application, and that publication is dated February 1st. Under the current system, Chucky can swear behind that publication and still get a patent. Under the new system, he's not going to be able to do that. There's a lot of aspects to the AIA that are important to people, but for people like startup companies, the micro-entity fees are particularly interesting. You have a 25% of large entity fees, and that can be critical for startups with limited budgets. Now, in summary, as a startup company or an innovator or an entrepreneur, you need to take stock of your intellectual property. You need to determine what forms of intellectual property are available for each of your assets and whether it makes sense to protect them. And if you're going to file a patent application, do it sooner rather than later. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mark.
And I'm Melody, and we're a startup nonprofit, helpforcancer.net.
Who's the who? The who's everybody that's in the audience tonight. It's the 4,400 people who are diagnosed with cancer every day, the 1,600 people that die of cancer every day. It's the one child that dies every 4 minutes of cancer. 2 out of 3 Americans will be diagnosed with cancer in their lifetime. That's you as a patient, you as a parent, you as a grandfather or mother. That's all of us, everybody sitting out here. The what is all about helpforcancer.net. When my dad was diagnosed with cancer, one of the things I found out real fast was I spent over 150 hours on the internet trying to figure out what was going on, trying to find peace, trying to find the answers that we needed to do what we had to do. So that's part of the why. We needed information. We needed to understand how to take the journey. The what goes beyond information. It goes to compassion. It goes to love. It goes to all of the other things that happen when you're diagnosed with cancer. Helpforcancer.net provides that compassion. It provides that love. It provides all of the things that you don't see out there today. That's what Help for Cancer is all about.
I'm confused, and I'm frustrated. I just got back from the doctor, and I've been diagnosed with cancer. They handed me a card, has a number on it. I can't reach a real person. I went home, and I Googled cancer, and over 1 billion sites come up. And if I spent 1 second on every single site that came up, it would take me 31 years of my life. I don't have 31 years. I don't want to take that time, and I'm frustrated. How do I make good choices when I've been diagnosed with cancer? How do I know if I have the right doctor? How do I know what options are available to me? How do I find somebody that will really listen to me when I don't even know what my questions are that I need to ask?
This is what we need. We need love. We need compassion. We need you.
I just want to be heard. I want to live.
I want peace. I want to be able to deal with cancer without frustration. I want love.
I want to live without fear. I don't want to be judged. I don't want to be lied to. I want to live well.